All right, welcome back for episode 9. Again, I'm remaking my intro and outros for the last episode and this episode just because I did not have time to fully set them up as things just started moving really quickly and timetables kind of moved forward a little bit in certain places. So now that I am ahead of everything, I'm remaking my intro and outros. So in this episode 9, we are putting the engine in the new one and taking it out of the old one. And then we'll be sending our old shell off to her final resting place at LKQ and getting the new one running. But we're gonna go ahead and get straight into pulling the engine out of the old one. We have got the engine out and I just finished doing the timing. So I had to replace the balancer shaft seal and the front crank pulley seal, which they gave me the rear. So I had to bike my ass all the way across town to find out, oh, we don't have that one in stock, but our other one on the other side of town does. So I had to go across town the other direction. So I spent like 2 hours of my morning biking back and forth to get this seal because Honda, even though I said front, gave me the rear one. So everything's set. And I believe I have to take this bolt out because it's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be a placeholder and you're supposed to take it out when you're done. So I'm going to double check that before putting everything back together. But it was in there when I pulled it apart. So pretty sure it's not supposed to be there. I'm going to replace this mount and then I'm going to start putting it in the new shell after I get the rear motor mount out of the old one. But we're getting there. We're on day 3 and we're right about at the halfway mark. All right, so you've seen me pull the engine out of the old car. And then I forgot to record putting it in a new one because it just went by so fast. My help showed up. We dropped it in with the bigger excavator over there, which made it a lot easier, especially since I didn't have to take the brush guard back off because I realized my engine hoist was about 8 inches too short to clear this. So it went in nice and easy. I had an extra pair of hands on one side so that we had eyes on both sides as we dropped it in. It went in real smooth. I still have to rotate the motor backwards just a smidge just to get that rear motor mount lined up. It's about 1 inch too high from the bolt. So I just gotta basically figure out how to torque the motor back and it should match up just fine. All the other mounts are pretty much in there, so it's close. Last night I got the radiator in hooked up. I also got the LX fuse box because the harness has one different plug for that plugs into the back of the harness, back of the fuse box that plugs into the engine harness. One of the 2 plugs is different because of the automatic transmission. And then the EX fuse panel also has stuff for ABS and a couple other small things, I believe. Has the big things are the ABS and the automatic control module stuff that goes through it. And it is about 4 pounds heavier because there's a bunch of extra wires. We have stuff like this guy that's for the, I believe for the ABS. And then this is the wires I was talking about. This one's too big. This one fit, but that one didn't because of the transmission stuff. We have stuff like this relay that I have no clue what it's for, but I'm really hoping it's not for the keyless entry because I kind of want to retain that if I can, but we'll figure it out. either way, that harness was a bit heavier than the LX harness, so I ain't gonna complain about some weight reduction with that. Now is just hooking up the rest of the stuff: power steering, alternator, fuel lines, vacuum lines, finishing that one rear mount. Coolant lines are all hooked up and mostly full of coolant, so once I get it started, I can actually burp the coolant and add as I need to. What else? Other than that, I think the engine bay is about done. We just got to get the interior stuff figured out for the clutch switches, because I don't know if I'm going to need the wire harness from the LX for the dash to be able to plug in the clutch switches or not, or if I can bypass that and wire them up a different way. That way I can retain the sunroof controls, which I want to do. So I have to figure all that out. It's going to be a little bit of a pain, but I'm hoping to at least have it to the point where I could spin it over today and maybe have it running by tomorrow. Friday is my deadline, because Saturday I have a car show I'm trying to go to, and I want to take this. I want to try and have it running by tomorrow, though, so that Friday I can have the old shell picked up by LKQ and use that money to pay for the registration, transfer. All right, so I'm dealing with some of the electrical stuff inside the car. I've got the key tumbler from the old car in, the dash cluster in. I just heard the fuel pump prime, I think. So that's probably good news. The ECU, that's the automatic one. The ECU goes in this spot down here, which is right on the floor. And I was able to relocate it to right here. So it's sitting in between the glove box and where the radio goes. And this lower panel curves away enough that it just barely misses this corner, and then just basically covers all that. So if I end up to water up to here for any reason where the water's up to the seat, well, my ECU should be okay, which is exactly what I was worried about and was one of the things I wanted to do. So we I don't even know if the engine will spin over yet, but it might. I don't know, because the clutch still has needs to be wired up somehow, and I have to figure that out. But here's to hoping. So I just got the ignition switch in, as well as the plug for it, swapped out from the one that was in it before, because it had some aftermarket security thing in it, and it was literally cut apart and taped back together. So that's not great. I put the new ignition switch in it, and before it wouldn't let me pair a keyless entry remote to it at all. And first try, I don't know if you can hear it clicking or not, but how awesome is that? I haven't had keyless entry since my sedan, and it didn't even work that well. All right, day number 5. I just finished getting the LX non-ABS brake line junction and front brake lines in, because the back brake lines are the same, and deleted this a-hole that was taking up space. And in its place, which is this big empty spot right here, I might try and put an air compressor or something so I can air up and down on the trail if I ever needed to, especially after I figure out how to all-wheel drive this. So yeah, I pulled the junction out of there with the brake lines I needed to run it off the brake booster. My buddy's going to be here shortly to help me bleed the clutch line and the brake lines. I just have to get the calipers on from the old one, because especially that one is shot. The back ones are fine, but the One on this side is a little leaky. I mean, it's a little wet, but I'm not gonna trust them. I'm just gonna take the ones from this. But the engine should start today. Now that I got the brake lines in, I'm gonna try and torque the motor backwards and get that rear motor mount bolted together. That way, when I get the crank pulley torqued down, which he's gonna help me with too while he's here, we can try and fire it up and see if she runs. Everything electronical seems to work so far. The only thing is I have no turn signals at all, so no left, right, or hazards. They just don't do anything. I don't know why. Haven't figured it out. I'm going to try and hit the junkyard and get some relays for that. See if that fixes it, but I'd tear apart the entire dash to swap out the communication wire harness in the back, so that it's the one that plugs into both multiplexes, and then all of the AC stuff, all the little motors that control the where the blower sends air for all the pathways and such. But yeah, this is day 5 so far, and depending on the supposed rain, I might have it running today or Saturday. We'll see. But we're getting there. All right, day 5, she's running. She's idling a little high at about 1100, but I think that's because I don't have any O2s on it. So it's probably running an open loop, and obviously I have a bunch of stuff just got wired up. So right now I'm trying to burp the coolant. Yeah. I still have to, what's it called? I still have to get the clutch and brake lines bled, wheel on that tire, on that hub. I still have to put together the lower control arm and that forward bar. I still got some stuff to do. It's still not going to be drivable, but she runs. That's what's important. get it up on the bed. He's just trying to straighten it out.
I'm trying to bet one of our friends is going to see him towing it and be like, is that Fox's old car?
That would be kind of funny, wouldn't it?
Man, it does kind of suck.
All right, so that is episode 9, and our next episode, our final episode, we will be showing off the build with some clips of it driving around. I hope you guys have enjoyed this whole building process. I am very sad about letting go of the old one, though. I wish I could have kept it and made a racing simulator out of it, but I am kind of living out of the car at the moment, so I have nowhere to put it. Even if I were to chop it down into like a couple of puzzle pieces that I could put back together, I have nowhere to store it, sadly. So we're gonna let her go, and maybe in the future we'll find another beat up shell that we can turn into a simulator or something. But it is what it is, and hopefully I'll get over it soon, because I'm still pretty heartbroken about it. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the build process, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this series, and we will see you in episode 10.